Okay, so I've read a couple of your poll results. I haven't gotten too many in yet, but it seems so far like a lot of people are having trouble translating the demos to their projects and how to use the tools I've showed you to like actually create something. It is kind of a big jump, especially when you're learning a completely new tool, a completely new interface, like a completely new skill and process. So I'm going to add in these kind of tutorial videos, which are going to walk you like step by step how to create a specific design, which you can then like modify and kind of alter a little bit to make it your own. So add a little bit of your own like creative flair to it. But yeah, I do want to hopefully help you guys learn how to use the tools a little bit better. So this is an optional video if you need a little bit additional help kind of going through the projects. So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to do a little bit more of a pared back everyday wear type of ring, geometric ring, rather than these more like giant sculptural rings that I showed you in the first video. So, I mean, you're totally welcome to model something like that, but if you did want to model something that you can use and wear and print in the future, yeah, I wanted to show you a type of ring that has like a pattern on it, so a little more of a simple everyday band, something like that. So we're going to walk through that, and before I do that, I'm actually going to show you how to, in my first video I really just showed you how to create a ring like this, which is just like a flat band. So the interior profile in there is a rectangle. But we do have other options, like you can model a ring that is round on the outside. This is a half round band, so the interior is flat against your finger and then the outside is a curve. This is a knife edge band. They're not really in style anymore. They used to be big back in like the 70s. But that interior profile looks a little bit different. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a ring that's not just a plain old rectangle, and then we'll bump in this pattern creating as well. So I'm going to start a new design, and first thing I'm going to do is change my document settings. So drop that little arrow down, click on this little notepad to change my active units to millimeters. Okay. This is going to be probably a longer video. I'm going to try to slow down a little bit, and sometimes I just do things without explaining them because they're second nature. So I want to really explain what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch that is the interior diameter of my ring and also like the thickness. So create sketch. One of these two upright planes, click on that. And I want to go to my modify menu and add in my parameters. So again, the purpose and usefulness of parameters is that it will, you can adjust them in the future and it will adjust everything in your model along with it. So you don't have to like rebuild it from scratch if you want a bigger ring or a smaller ring. So I'm going to type my ring size in here and the diameter of my ring size, which you should be able to find in that watch the how-to video and then look in the handout for the chart. So I'm going to do 16 millimeters. I can't even remember what that is. I'm just making it up. But it's close to a size 6, I believe. And then I want to add in my thickness as well. So I'm clicking that little plus button right there. I'm going to type in thickness. And my thickness is going to be my ring size. And then a plus. And then whatever I want the thickness of my band to be. So, but I wouldn't go too much thinner than 1.5 millimeters. I'm just gonna go ahead and do 2. We'll do a little bit of thicker ring here. Between 1 and 2 is kind of the general dimensions of the thickness of your ring. Okay, so I have my ring size in, my thickness in. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now I'm going to create the inside of my ring and then the outside. So I'm going to use a center diameter circle, which if you don't have the shortcut there, I can just drop down this create menu, select circle, center diameter circle. I'm going to start at my global origin right there in the very middle, and then type in ring size. I have to hit enter to select it, and then enter to finalize it. So it's 2 enters. I'm going to also do my thickness now, so the outside diameter of my ring, selecting the global center again, dragging out. I don't have to like click it, hold and drag, I just move my mouse out. I'm going to type in thickness, hit enter, and now I have my 2 different rings. And finish sketch. Okay, so how I showed you in your last video is that we just extruded this little profile to create a plain simple band ring. But if I want to create a more curved profile like this, there are a couple ways I can do it. Let's show you using the pipe. So I'm going to go to my create menu, select pipe, and then it's going to ask me which path I want to go around. I'm going to choose my interior one. This is technically not necessarily the best way to do this, but there are multiple ways to do multiple things. So right now I have a square. I'm going to change that back to circular. So there I'm getting my round band. The one thing with using a pipe is that it centers on my path I chose, which is my sketch. So this whole section in here is like in the interior of my ring size. So it's actually small. It's making a smaller ring than what my finger size is. But we are going to cut off this middle section later. So I'm going to bump up this size of my pipe a little bit fatter so it kind of gets close to this outer diameter sketch that I created. So this outer like black line right up there, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit OK. So now I have just a big old wire, like a big pipe ring, but it is much smaller than my ring size. So if I turn that back on, I can see, well, this is kind of hard to see. There we go. This is my actual ring size. So I'm going to go ahead and use this sketch and extrude it, but instead of creating a new body, I'm going to use it to cut. So I'm going to select extrude, or again drop down, select extrude. I'm going to choose the interior circle. So this is my ring thickness between here. That's my interior diameter. That's my exterior diameter. I'm going to choose the middle. And I can go ahead and pull it out. Make sure it's set to cut. If it is looking blue and gray, that means you're either joining or have a new body. But if I want to cut, it should be red like that. Right now I'm extruding just in one direction, but I can change that to do 2 sides, and if I can choose that and do 2 sides at different measurements, or I can just choose symmetrically. So it doesn't matter how big it is as long as I go all the way through my ring right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So that is how I create a rounded profile band right there. Now I could add more things to it if I wanted to. But we are going to hide that body and talk about how to create a band that has a different type of shape to it, kind of like this knife edge band. So back to this guy. In order to do that, we're going to use a different tool, which I didn't show you, but is going to be the sweep tool. So the sweep tool takes a flat profile and then sweeps it along a plane. So essentially, I want to create, let's find this, a singular profile. So basically this shape, this little, I don't know what shape that is, kind of triangular little house roof type of shape. So I want to create that little shape, and then once I have that, as it's going to be like a 2D flat sketch, then I can, actually I already did it here, let's just show you. There we go. So you can see there's the profile sketch, and then I swept it around my ring size, and that creates the ring. Okay, so let's do that in here. So I want to create a new sketch, create sketch. I want it to be perpendicular to this, so I'm going to flip over so that sketch I did is just a single straight line, and I'm going to do it from my top view. And I like to rotate using these arrows so that I'm like this orientation. And I want to draw my profile right here at the tip of my sketch for my ring size. So that's the very edge of my ring size sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and move. I should have done those in two different ones. Okay, I'm actually going to go back in and edit this sketch and get rid of that thickness one, because I want to be focusing on this so that when I revolve it, or sweep it, sorry, it will be my correct size. So let me edit this, take that out for now, create a new sketch, create sketch, top plane, rotate. Okay, so now this is the interior of my ring, so I can do my sketch based off right up to that point right there. And I can really sketch like whatever kind of profile I want to. If I wanted it to be like a round ring, like this one, but completely round, without cutting that middle section out, I can, create a circle right there and then sweep that around to create, a completely round ring that fits my ring size. In order to get out of this circle tool, now if I don't want it, I do need to hit my escape key on a Mac. I'm going to use my line tool. So, I'm using these grids here. I want to, maybe I'll do something a little weirder for this one. Just a little spike. I really want to get right on that middle point. It's just not wanting me to. One nice thing about they've added to the sketch is when I am straight across from my other mark right there, I have this dotted blue line to let me know that I am parallel right there. And I'm going to try to count the number of grids so that it's fairly close in shape. That's good enough. And then I usually pay a little bit more attention to the grids when I am just trying to make something symmetrical on both sides. But I really just kind of went for it on this one. Where am I? Up here? I can edit this later if I need to. Okay. That took a while. Fairly symmetrical by using the grids. If I want it to be perfect, I do have the ability to use this mirror tool. So I can do a half and then select my central line right there and mirror it to the other half. Not totally necessary for what we're doing. If I wanted to be uber precise, I would though. Okay, so this is my profile. Oh boy, I got lost. There we go. So it is closed in blue, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and select Finish Sketch. And now I have a singular, flat, completely flat profile right adjacent to my ring size. So I can go to my Create menu, select Sweep. It will ask me what profile. I want this profile. Then I'm going to click on this little button to select my path, which is going to be my interior ring size. So if you still have your exterior ring out there, I would want to select the interior one. I want to create a new body right there, so I can hit OK. So this is the weird, let me turn my sketch off. There we go. The strange profiled ring that I made, which is probably not comfortable to wear. It's a little sharp in the middle. But you can kind of play around with that and create a lot of different types of shapes of bands, so you don't only have to have this rectangular part.